Well, Etheridge, thanks for joining us here on Blues TV. Firstly and most importantly, as we sit here today, how are you feeling?
Yeah, good. I'm very happy that I was able to get through the game on Tuesday night. Obviously not the result that we wanted for myself, for the club, but on a personal level I was very happy that I could get through the game and still feel good after the game. Obviously from what I've been through, it's been a tough journey to get to that stage, and probably a lot earlier than expected as well.
Yeah. In terms of a timeline, I mean, the last time we saw you obviously out on the pitches was in Scotland, up in Troon, fighting fit, going through the paces as all the boys were. Take us through what happened from the last day of the trip to now.
So on the Saturday, I tested positive for COVID. Did a few tests to make sure that we had the right result. I was definitely positive, so I travelled back alone back to Birmingham. Still no symptoms at this point whatsoever. Got home on the Saturday, just chilling out at home, and in the evening, late into the evening, it was like a bus just hit me. I started sweating, aching all over. Shivers, real strong flu-like symptoms, which was obviously really tough, but it wasn't like anything that you hadn't been through with the flu maybe previously. So I took myself to bed. It was a struggle to sleep, sweating like I said, and then the days following, to be honest, I didn't want to eat, I didn't want to drink. At this point there was no breathing problems whatsoever. I just had really strong flu-like symptoms like I said, and I thought, well, I'll be out of this in a couple of days. It's nothing too serious. I obviously didn't, and on the Friday, still bedbound, hadn't left the room at all. Started to breathe quite heavily, and I hadn't done anything. So obviously I let the club know, let the doc know. Another day went by on Saturday. Updated the doc again, saying it's gone a little bit worse. I'm struggling to breathe a little bit here. So she said, go into the A&E at QE, and obviously for me sitting here, I have to thank everyone at QE, the nurses, the doctors did a fantastic job, not just with me, but with everyone. To be honest, over the last 2 years, 18 months, with the job that they've done and the time and effort that they've put in. A massive thank you to NHS. So yeah, I went in on Saturday and did a lot of tests, sat in the A&E for a while, and then they put me into the ward. So you're in a ward with 4 other people, and at this point I'm thinking, well, I'm in hospital, I'm going to get better. Gas and air threw me a little bit. Watched the Euros final on the Sunday, and just continued as normal, but obviously connected up to oxygen basically. And on Monday night went to sleep, and all of a sudden on the Thursday morning it would have been, I'm just hearing alarm bells and people running up to me, and all of a sudden I'm being rushed to the intensive care unit, and I don't really know what's going on. I'm drugged up, I'm half asleep. Of then getting needles put into me, more oxygen's being chucked into me. I'm obviously not coming round at all. Probably 10 to 12 hours later, I'm asking question, what's going on? Why am I here? And they said, look, right now, you're on 80% oxygen, and you're basically, the machine's breathing for you at this stage. So that obviously scared me. Any sort of movement I did, going on my side, going on my front, I was hyperventilating, I couldn't breathe. Really strange times. Anything that you'd expect to be normal, I couldn't. Even sitting up on the edge of my bed, I was hyperventilating, I couldn't really breathe properly. Seeing people around you in a similar state, in worse states. And it got to a stage, obviously 80% oxygen, where I couldn't breathe for myself. The doctors there were very honest with me and said, look, we don't want to scare you, but the next stage is putting you to sleep with a tube down your throat. And that really hit home. It was extremely scary. Being drugged up, it probably helped my situation because I didn't really know what was going on, but to even look back on it now, it makes me quite emotional just to think of what sort of state I was in. And I remember texting my wife, just being like, I'm scared, and obviously you have to let her know. And I was in contact with the doc here in the club, and they did a really great job there at QE to obviously steadily get me out of it.
Yeah, and having your wife at home, who you knew was pregnant at the time, as a fit, healthy 31-year-old who never thought he'd be in this sort of predicament, just how scary did it get at that lowest time?
Yeah, obviously at that stage we knew we were pregnant. We just got married, and then all of a sudden, your life goes downhill really quickly. And I'm not sitting here saying your whole life flashes before you or anything like that. You just start thinking, like we were speaking about it earlier. I mean, in Troon, I'm doing all right, and then I've got what seems like flu-like symptoms. I think I'm going to be all right, and then I'm in hospital. And you think, well, I'm going to get better, and I haven't. And I've gone the other way and gone into the intensive care unit. And then you start thinking, well, what's actually going to happen here? And then when the doctor tells me, that's the next stage, you really start thinking, am I going to get out of this at all? I'm maybe jumping the gun a little bit here, but as I got a little bit better towards my time out of it, it was very scary, the doctor basically said to me, because I was asking questions in terms of, is there a third wave coming? What's happening with me? How is it? Just general conversation. And the doctor said to me, if that was 18 months ago at the start of this pandemic, we don't know if we'd be able to pull you through. It would be down to your body. It wouldn't have been down to us. We didn't have the drugs. We didn't have the steroids. We didn't know if the oxygen was working 100%. And that really struck a chord and really hit home that I'm one of the fortunate ones to be able to get out of this, but there are many that have passed away in exactly the same position that I was in.
I mean, the club announced that you'd been hospitalised without, couldn't obviously go into much detail at that time, but we were absolutely flooded with messages, not just from everyone associated with Birmingham City, but wider footballing world, players, staff that you've worked with before. When you've had a chance to look back on all of those, was you taken aback by just the sheer volume of people that were reaching out to you?
100%. I had time, so I obviously flicked through, and I was getting messages. The club here did everything they can and went over and beyond. From the right at the top of the club all the way down. From the chairman to everyone, to the manager, to Marshall, to everyone who I've worked with. I can't name them all. Messaging me, supporting myself, supporting my wife, supporting my family, because you don't know no one will understand what we were going through at that stage. It's a little bit emotional thinking about it, but it was a tough time for everyone.
Yeah. Then we get to a stage where it's make or break for you, and you turn a corner. Tell us about the days where it started to turn and a bit more positivity came flooding in.
Yeah, I think, I went back home on the Saturday and, still a shell of myself. I lost a lot of body weight, lost a lot of muscle mass. It was like literally someone pressing reset on my whole body. It was nice to be back home, to be honest. And in all honesty, I remember doing a Zoom call with the doc and Hunty, who's done, worked with me this whole process along with the rest of the physio team and the doc. And we were just saying before that coming out of hospital, a sit to stand from here, standing up in the space of a minute, I could only do 10 to 11 sit to stands, which if you actually do it, is pretty comfortable for everyone. So to be from like that to where I am today, it was a lot of hard work, a lot of long days. It wasn't an easy process getting back to where I am today, but obviously thankful for everyone at this football club to get me through it.
You've been quite open and said you wasn't vaccinated at the time. Has it changed your mind in terms of the vaccination process? Because obviously everybody's entitled to go and find out their own information and be informed. Is that where you are at the moment?
Yeah, I think, for me, I wasn't going to get vaccinated. On a personal level, I will. I still believe I'm not going to be sitting here saying everyone must get vaccinated, but at the same time I think people need to do their own research. Everyone is in their own situation, whether they be living with friends, they might be living with family, with an elderly person. Are you going to catch it, give it on to someone else to cause them a problem? Are you going to catch it and put your family, what I had to put my family through? You need to do research. I've spoken to people before that on a database, I will go down as one person, and someone else who has had no symptoms will go down into that database as one, extra person having COVID-19. What we both went through were two completely different things. So I'm sitting here saying that people need to do their own research, why they should or shouldn't have it. And obviously only you as a person can make that decision of what's best for yourself and people around you.
Often for people involved in football, it's the be all and end all. Does this perspective change for you now?
Yeah, of course, I've still got my competitive edge. I still want to play. I'm so delighted I was able to play ahead of schedule on Tuesday night. There's still steps that I need to go through. It definitely did. I remember sitting in bed with my wife and she's like, this is like literally 3 days out after hospital, and I'm sitting there going, right, I need to get back in the training ground, I need to do this. And she's like, wait a minute, you nearly died, you could have died 5 days ago, put things in perspective, just relax a little bit. So yeah, seeing people around you with smiles on your face, and for me being where I am today, I'm obviously very happy, very blessed to be where I am. And I will enjoy my days off, spending it time with family and friends.
Now, as we sit here, like you say, you've made the return, you've played a game. Are those competitive juices still flowing and looking forward to continuing that fitness work?
Yeah, 100%. Playing on Tuesday night, obviously in front of the supporters, having that adrenaline go through you, it's something that obviously you can't replicate doing anything else. Even though that game for me was more about, the gaffer spoke about it, getting through it, seeing how Neil's going to react to it. I feel like after the game I was still good. A couple of days after, I'm still good, which is great. I've got a few more scans and a few more bits and pieces that I need to do. But ultimately, it was a good test for me on Tuesday night. I had to concentrate on myself. For me, that was like my first pre-season game. I haven't had a pre-season, and I've had to do my pre-season from a worse state that I would have come back to normally.
Well, Effers, as difficult as it's been for you to recollect it all, we appreciate your honesty and candid recollection of what was just an unbelievably harrowing, difficult time for you, and for us to watch on as well, helpless as a football club. So really appreciate you sitting with us, and can't wait to see you back out there again.
Thank you very much.